Hi folks, this is Karim Rauf from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Matrix Labs, the video number 33. I've been discussing in the previous video the following. We have been working for a couple of videos on discussing the rep admin utility or tool to discover the problems concerning the Active Directory database replication. Before the rep admin tool, we have discussed the CDIAC tool. So in this series of videos, we are talking about different tools to troubleshoot problems concerning the domain controllers and concerning the Active Directory databases. And we will discuss a lot of different tools to troubleshoot different aspects in our network. Maybe network problems, maybe workstation problems, maybe application errors or troubleshooting application. Not we will talk about specific applications, but a general concept to troubleshoot application errors in general. So what we are discussing today, we will discuss a very important, not a tool, but a very detailed report called Testimo. This is a very good PowerShell report. It is based on PowerShell, so it will generate a series of reports by the PowerShell, and these reports are generated in HTML format. Uh, these reports are the result of 644 tests done by this Testimo tool. So let's make it in brief. We have a report called Testimo. This report will run a series of tests, 644 tests. These tests are run under the PowerShell command or using PowerShell commands, and the results are generated in HTML format. What are these tests or what they do? Mostly they will check the Active Directory health, and another thing is to check the security of the Active Directory, and another thing, or we can add that it will help you to plan or focus on disaster recovery for the Active Directory. It will focus on things like if you have made Active Directory backup, Active Directory database backup. So there is a lot of things concerning the Testimo PowerShell report. What is Testimo? Who have done this report? So first of all, to download the report, we need to go to Evotech. This is the company, or in a specific, the guy that had made this company has already created this report. So how we can download the report? You can go to Evotech, or you can type Testimo, and then you can go to this page in GitHub, and you can see some introduction about the PowerShell module. It is a PowerShell module to help basic or more advanced testing of Active Directory, and maybe in the future other types of servers. So maybe in the future it will test not only the Active Directory, maybe other kinds of servers, maybe SQL or whatsoever. Testimo is an alpha product, even though I think it's an old version, or it was released from a couple of months maybe. So if you can see here, the latest version of this report was on January 23 this year. So maybe from a couple of months, maybe from 6 months or so. So it's an alpha product, and as such things do change. So it's an alpha product, it's not a final product, but actually it's very good. Okay, so its goal is to fully automate solutions where one can run the command and get results without executing 50 little functions. So he is combining a lot of PowerShell commands together. Okay, a lot of PowerShell commands together in one PowerShell command, as we will see later, to get different results. So you don't need to run, for example, 50 PowerShell commands to get one result or something you are searching for. He is combining a lot of PowerShell commands under one custom PowerShell command to get the results you need. We will see later how these commands will be very helpful for us to get the results very quickly. So all of these or this PowerShell report is not supported under PowerShell 7 or PowerShell Core. This is because Testimo module depends on other Microsoft modules that are not supported in PowerShell 7. So it is basically working with PowerShell 5.1, which is already launched with all of the Windows servers operating system. So we don't need to worry, okay? But in the future, I hope it will be supported by PowerShell 7 to get more features and to get more advanced output, okay? So here, things you need to know. uh, okay, I don't think we need to read this section. So how we can download the module? You can download it from the latest release. You can download the file, or you can go to the server that you need to install this report on, for example your domain controller, and then run install module minus name testimo minus allow caliber minus force. Okay, so you open a PowerShell and then run this command. It will go to the internet and download the testimo report. A small thing, what this line of command means, we can ask ChatGPT to explain it in a very simple terms. Let's see what is the answer of ChatGPT before going further and discussing what this report will help us to do, how it was created. Okay, and there was a lot of things going on to get this fantastic report. Something in the background we need to say, because it contains also a lot of good information. First, let's see what is this line means when we ask ChatGPT for all.
Certainly. Let's break down this PowerShell command line step by step. 1. Install module. This is a PowerShell command, commandlet, that installs a module from the PowerShell gallery or another repository. A module is a package that contains PowerShell commands, scripts, functions, and other resources. 2. Name Testimo. This specifies the name of the module you want to install, which in this case is Testimo. Testimo is a specific module that contains a set of tools for PowerShell. 3. Allow clobber. This option allows the installation of the module even if it will overwrite or clobber existing commands that have the same names as those in the module being installed. It's a way of saying, it's okay to replace existing commands if there are conflicts. 4. Force. This forces the installation of the module without asking for any further confirmation. It bypasses any prompts that might normally appear, such as warnings or requests for permission to overwrite existing files. So in simple terms, the command install module -name testimo -allow clobber force installs the testimo module and makes sure to overwrite any existing commands with the same names and does so without asking for confirmation.
Very simple explanation. And if we go to the uh, GitHub page, he's saying that force and allow caliber aren't really necessary, but they do skip errors in case of some appear. If you have already the Testimo report already installed, if you need to update it, just tell him update module name Testimo. So this is if you have it already installed. Okay, alternatively, renunning install module will force or trigger reinstallation or update. So if you don't want to run this module or this command, you can run install module again. It will reinstall or update. Okay, so very simple thing. And as we can see here, we will see that this report, so after installing it, you need to tell him invoke testimo. So this will run the report, which will give us a result or an HTML file. We will see the result in details. So as we can see here, these are screenshots of the testimo report. And if we go further, these are the things that will run 644 report or 644 tests. We will see each one of these what it will do exactly. Okay, and we can see here that you can uninstall it at the end. As for removal, you can option 1, finding where modules are stored, get modules. So after installing the testimo module, you can go and see the modules to list the modules named testimo. Okay, you can run this and then uninstall the module. Anyway, so I don't think we need to uninstall it, but if you need to uninstall it, here is the way to uninstall it. So basically, this is a very good report. Let's see first the author of this report, which is called, let me get the name exactly. he is called I think it's Polovansky. I can't really read the name, but this guy have already a company called Evotech, which is a company for IT stuff. Okay, here he has a URL. So this is Evotech. This is uh, uh, his company. Okay, and he's saying, what do we say to health checking Active Directory? This is like let's say that it's like uh, uh, an article how we can check the health of the Active Directory. He's saying here that something like that: setting up an Active Directory is an easy task. You download and install Windows Server, install required roles, and in 4 hours or less you have a basic Active Directory setup. So in 4 hours you will have an Active Directory setup. You need to install Windows Server and then install Active Directory services, okay, and then promote the server to be a domain controller. So in less than 4 hours you will have an Active Directory setup. In an ideal world, that would be all, and your only task is to manage users, computers, and groups. Okay, so this is basically what we need to do. But unfortunately, things with Active Directory aren't as easy as it is pictured, as I have pictured it. Okay, let's do something here. If we have the AI tools, let's ask to summarize something like that to have uh, more to be more quick, not to read all of these. Summarize this article. So anyway, he's okay, he's saying that, okay, so I'm giving him the article and then he is beginning to uh, but I think it's more, so he didn't summarize it, but he got more data. Okay, so anyway, we can I can tell you briefly what it says. Here is saying that it's more complex, so it is very easy to set up the Active Directory, but to maintain it and to monitor it, it's not that easy. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to have tools to monitor the Active Directory. Okay, some of these tools are like dcdiag and repadmin, but uh, you cannot get detailed reports, although it helps you to troubleshoot as we have seen before using dcdiag and repadmin, but the reports are not that detailed and it's not that organized. Okay, so he's saying here that okay, there is folks within the community creating PowerShell scripts and functions that will help with some health checks of Active Directory. So he's saying that although there is some tools like dcdiag and repadmin that will help you to troubleshoot and monitor the Active Directory databases and domain controllers, but they don't give that uh, detailed reports, and they are only focusing on certain part or certain aspects of the domain controllers and the Active Directory. Here he is seeking, or he is saying that there is a lot of contributors in the internet community that are doing lists for checking the health of Active Directory. They are creating Active Directory health checklist, and they are doing PowerShell scripts to run this health checklist. Okay, so this is what he's saying. A code that he is focusing on, or he is trying to make a report that is very, very detailed, and it will check a lot of aspects concerning the Active Directory health. Okay, so let's, if we can read it here, let's say here, uh, Okay, so it's saying here, for example, Active Directory in terms of its health and security seems easy, right? Not quite. While you may think you have done everything, checked everything, there is always something missing. Unless you have instructions for everything and can guarantee that things stay the same way as you have left them forever. It's a bit more complicated. Okay, so he's saying that there is not a specific list on what to do to check the health of your Active Directory. There is some tools like DCDAG and RipAdmin. It doesn't tell you what you need to do. It's all it gives you the tools, and then you can use it to check the health of the Active Directory. But there is uh, nothing like a documentation or steps 1, 2, 3, 4, or what steps we should do to check the health of our Active Directory, to check the security of our Active Directory, to back up the Active Directory. There is nothing, or there is not a unified list for doing that. So there is a lot of contributors that have done a lot of Active Directory health checklist to help us to get something like that. So let's see what he's talking about here. This is why Microsoft delivers you tools to troubleshoot Active Directory. Also sells monitoring solutions like SOM, Microsoft SOM, that can help and detect when something happened in your Active Directory while you were gone. Surely there are some third-party companies give you some tools that can help you a lot. Okay, monitoring. Finally, there is a lot of folks within the community creating PowerShell scripts or functions that help with some health check of the Active Directory. So, for example, one of these tools is the AD replication status tool. It will help you to check the Active Directory replication status not through command interface but through a graphical interface. We have discussed this utility, and it is already maintained by one of Microsoft employees. Okay, or he was a former Microsoft employee. He is maintaining this tool, and there is, for example, a couple of PowerShell modules that are testing the health of the Active Directory. So you are not only using DCDiag and RipAdmin, there is a lot of custom PowerShell functions or scripts that can check the Active Directory health, and a lot of things also, not the Active Directory health, but a lot of things actually like security or backup. So there is a lot of things actually custom PowerShell commands can do. So for example, this is one PowerShell custom command called AD pester. Okay, this is to check the health of the Active Directory. Anyway, so he's saying, this guy is saying that he have checked a lot of PowerShell custom functions to check the health of the Active Directory, and he have checked a lot of checklists concerning the health of the Active Directory, and he's combined all of that. So he have seen all of these health Active Directory checklists, and he have checked a lot of custom PowerShell scripts and commands to check the Active Directory health, and then he has formed his Testimo PowerShell report. Okay, and one of the things, as we can see here, these are all Active Directory checklists by different contributors. You can check them all if you need. And one thing he has seen, or after checking a lot of things, one of the lists that took his attention is the Active Directory health checklist, health and security checkup by Arnold Lewis. This is the one that we will see and focus and do in our lab. So we will check all of these steps, we will do it, and we will also run the Testimo report. Okay, so we will do this, we will use this list, and we will see how it is very useful to help you to check the Active Directory health and to check the security as well. And by the way, you can check the Active Directory health, not the Active Directory, the security. I prefer, if you will focus on the Active Directory security, then you need to see the recommendations of famous organizations like the Department of Defense of the United States. They regularly issue a lot of recommendations to secure different platforms One of them is the Active Directory. So for example, let me show you all something here. I have already this program that is done by the Department of Defense. It's called STIG Viewer. If we open it, let me show you all something here. These are all some recommendations. If we open it like that, let me show you all here. So we will open this one. These are all, we have 247 recommendations. You can check any one of them. For example, let me show you all the Active Directory recommendation. So for example, if you go here is the Active Directory, okay, and then we can go to the Active Directory Forest. So here we have a lot of recommendations. For example, we have here 36 rules or points that you should use to secure your Active Directory. So for example, here we have a lot of things. Every one of these, when you click on it, it will give you the discussion and how to do that. Okay, and these are the references it took this recommendation from. So I prefer to use something like that, or use the recommendation of the CIS, or Internet Security. This is another organization that issues some recommendations like that. So I prefer to use something like that, not recommendations done uh, uh, by some contributors, okay, or by individuals. You can depend upon famous organizations like the Department of Defense. So even though this is useful, but if you need to focus on security of the Active Directory, you can use something like that, or something like these recommendations. Okay, I prefer to do that. You can do both, but I prefer to focus on the recommendations of the Department of Defense. Anyway, so this we will focus on later. And as you can see here, these are the health check by Arnold. This we will use it later. And if we go further with the what this test or this report will do, it should allow for testing forest. It should allow for testing all domains within a forest. It should allow for testing all domain controllers in all domains. It should be easily extensible in adding more tests. You can add more tests. It should allow changing setting on global way. You can disable some tests and enable some tests. It should allow changing each test separately. Okay. It should allow excluding domains or domain controllers from the test. It would allow easy installation. It should allow easy use. We will see that. It should have tests based on setting rather than snapshot or baseline comparison. It should deliver pass or fail per test. It should allow for reporting with extensive information and email status if required. We will see this in a couple of minutes. Okay, so these are all features of this test. We can see there is a lot of things we can do with this test, but what it will do, or what are the tests it will do, we will see here. These are the list of tests it will do. For example, if we can see one of the tests, for example, here it's saying that in the forest level, verify the backup. So it will verify if you have done Active Directory database backup, okay, and replication. He's talking about the backup of the Active Directory and the replication of the Active Directory. The recycle bin, Active Directory recycle bin, if it is enabled or not. We can see this is not related to the health of the Active Directory, but maybe something like security, or to ease your working with the Active Directory, because you can restore deleted items from the recycle bin. Okay, we can see site verification. It will verify the sites and the links and the subnets and a lot of things concerning your sites or Active Directory sites. Domain password complexity, this is related to the security of your password policy within the domain. So we will see there is a lot of things here. As we can see here, these are all tests. Okay, if we can also ask Copilot to summarize these things, let's go further and ask it to summarize these tests to give us a small brief. Copy, summarize this paragraph. Okay. Okay, I think it will not. Okay, so Control A, and then we can do that. We can tell it very simple thing to summarize the whole page. We can tell him to generate or summarize or generate page summary. So in very simple terms here, we can see here that it's saying that Active Directory health checks the importance of regularly checking the health and security of Active Directory using tools like DiskDiag and DripAdmin and third-party solutions. Pester infrastructure test. Okay, I think this is not something that we can, or this is not a good summary. Anyway, so if we take this, okay, and ask ChatGPT to summarize it, okay, let's go like that, and here we go. Okay, copy, summarize this paragraph. Okay, like that, and then do like that, and then to like that. But firstly, we need to do like that paragraph. But first, let me do something here. Okay, if you do like that, here you go, and you need just to give it the correct thing here. So if you go further and go like that and tell it to like this one, okay, copy, and we can go and ask ChatGPT to summarize it, okay, and like that, and then do like that. So as we can see here, it is already organized the tests in a couple of points. Let's see and how we have organized it.
The paragraph describes the various tests performed by the Testimo module for verifying the configuration and health of a Windows Server Active Directory environment. These tests cover a wide range of checks, including 1. Forest level checks, backup and replication status, optional features like recycle bin, privileged access management, and lapse, site and site link configurations, FSMO role availability and orphaned admins, tombstone lifetime. 2. Domain level checks, password complexity and lockout policies, trust status and Kerberos account age, verification of key groups and user configurations, DNS forwarders and scavenging settings, group policy permissions and DFSR sysvol status. 3. Domain controller checks, service statuses including print spooler and network ports, RDP security and LDAP connectivity, firewall settings and DNS resolution capabilities, time synchronization settings, disk space and operating system version, Windows updates and SMB protocol settings, visibility of default SMB shares and DFSR auto recovery, Windows roles and features related to AD, DNS, and file services. These tests ensure that the Active Directory environment is configured correctly, secure, and functioning as expected.
Very good, as you can see here. So after going with this article, okay, these are the things, or we need to discuss about the Testimo. So here is the page you can see here, or we can, if you need to check here, this is website, and what do we say to health checking Active Directory if you need to see it. And this is the AD health and security checkup by Arnold. We will use it later. So these are the two, and this is the Evotech Testimo GitHub page to download the module if you need to download it, or to install it through the internet, as we will see in a couple of seconds. And another thing, this GitHub or this Evotech GitHub page contains a lot of useful PowerShell scripts. So for example, one of the things we will discuss later, a very, very good report it's called GPO Zaro. This is a PowerShell module that aims to gather information about group policies, but also allow fixing issues that you may find them, okay, with the GPOs or the group policies. It's a very, very good report. Uh, we will focus on this report in a couple of videos, but today we will talk about Testimo, and later we can talk about this module in specific. We will dedicate a couple of videos to discuss this PowerShell script or the PowerShell report issued or generated by PowerShell. Okay, so we will discuss it later. And one of the good things also, one of the things that most admins will need, and I see a lot of us asking about it, password solution. This is another PowerShell report that allows the creation of password expiry emails for users, manager, administrator, and security according to defined templates. It's able to work with different rules, allowing to fully customize who gets the email and when. So, one of my colleagues asked me if there is a report that can be issued regularly that will give him the expiry date for the users and the managers and the administrators in his network. So for example, we have 100 users. I need to know which password for the 100 users will expire. So for example, 50 users have their password expire. I need a report with it when it will be expired and to be emailed. Everyone should be emailed that his password will be expired in a couple of days. So this is a very, very good thing. Most of us ask about it, and one of my colleagues asked about it. I will discuss also or dedicate a video to uh, check this PowerShell script. So as you can see here, there is a lot of useful things. I urge you all to check this GitHub page and see the different reports this guy has done. Okay, so this is very, very good. Now we need to see how this report will be generated. So first of all, we will close this one, and we will close also this module, and then let's see how it will be installed. If we go there and open a PowerShell module and then begin the installation of uh, the the report. Before that, we need to make sure to check the version of the PowerShell. So first of all, we need to type a certain command to see if this is PowerShell 7 or PowerShell 5.1. We need to be very, very sure about this info because the report will not work on PowerShell 7. So here we have something called uh, PS version table. As we can see here, this is PowerShell 5.1. So this is a very, very good info. We need to make sure our PowerShell version is 5.1. So now we can continue working. Now we will tell him install module name Testimo, allow caliber minus force. Okay. Then we will see how it is very, very easy. Now we have internet connection. We just tell him to install and it will go and download the module and install it. As you can see here, it is installing and downloading the different commandlets that will be used by the Testimo. So now we have it already installed. Now to run the report, to tell him to invoke Testimo. This is to clear the screen and then to invoke Testimo. Then we will see a lot of testing is done. 644 tests. A lot of these are very useful reports or tests. Test the health of the Active Directory. By the way, this tool will use dcdiag and repadmin tools to get certain output from these tools and organize it in a very good HTML report with some graphs. So it uses dcdiag and repadmin. We'll see that when we are scrolling through the test it's doing. So now it will begin a lot of tests, as we can see here. Okay, it will begin testing the forced backup. This is backing up of the different Active Directory partitions. Then it will check if you have the HCP installed on a domain controller, a lot of things actually, and the replication of the Active Directory database. We will see a lot of things. Okay, it is doing a lot of tests. It will test the DNS on the domain controllers. Okay, it will test the scavenging of the DNS records on the domain controllers, or the DNS records on the domain controllers, site links, site link connections, a lot of things. If we go roles availability, if we go further, we will discuss this one by one, but if we go further, we will see it also do some tests related to the group policies. And now this is running on the first domain controller. It will run all of these tests again on the second domain controller. So if you go further, let me pass it real quickly. It is testing, for example, LDAP connection. It's secure or not. And at the end, so for example, here is something like dcdiag is running. So he's initializing the dcdiag tool through this report, and it will get some data. At the end, you will get an HTML report. If I go and let you all see this report, here it goes. This is the report. You can see here it is 64 or 644 tests. Here I have passed 495. This I have already passed successfully. We have 21 informational. This is info. We have 9 severe tests that is not passed. We have 113 high tests. So we will focus on severe and high. We need to rectify or to solve these problems concerning the severe results and the high results. We need to focus on both. As for low, we will not focus on, and elevated. So as we can see here, it's a report and with graph. As we will see the results here, for example, these are all the results. You can see them in a HTML format, or you can export it in Excel or CSV or PDF, so you can export it as you wish. So for example, I have exported in Excel. So let me show you all what will be the result in Excel. If you go there and show you the result, it will be more easy to focus on when it is in Excel format. So for example, if you go there and open dcdiag, here is the Excel format of this report. As you can see here, we can analyze it. So for example, here we can tell him, for example, here is the findings. We will focus on the severe and the high findings we need to focus on. So for example, here we will see that one of the things here, that replication, or let me show you one thing here, that the domain partition on the primary domain controller, the domain partition of the Active Directory database on the primary domain controller was not replicated successfully. Okay, So we need to focus on this. Okay, last successful application was so, and there is one failure, for example. As for the backup, here we can see that these are all the Active Directory database partitions. All of these are not backed up on the primary and additional domain controller. They were not backed up, as we can see here. We need to focus on it, or we need to solve this problem. Other things, for example, maybe like, let me show you something here. For example, as for one thing, for example, let's go concerning the password policy. For example, if you go there, there is something called the password complexity, maybe. Let me show you all something here. So, for example, we can see here that uh, DNS scavenging or zone DNS agent should be identical on all domain controllers. So we can see that through the Excel we can focus more on the results, and we can rectify them one by one. So this is one thing. You can export it as CSV, Excel, or PDF, and you can see this is the summary section. All of these are the summary. Okay, you can go them one by one. For example, here you go, and you can focus on, but if you need to uh, uh, categorize it like forest, the findings in the forest, we can see here that we will do this. We will focus on the forest findings, and then you can go to the domain, okay, findings. Here it will get you the domain findings. This is the forest. If you have domains or multiple domains, you can get it from there, and you can get the findings in the forest from this section. Okay, and you can go to the domain controllers. Okay, now we can find also, if you open this one, you can get the two domain controllers, and you can see the finding on each one of them. Okay, for example, this one, as we can see, it's very customizable. You can see the results in different ways. So for example, we will begin in the next video focusing on the forest findings. One thing here we can see also, very good thing here, that it gives you the findings and the description. For example, Active Directory is a critical first system. This is the first finding. Is a critical system for company. However, having a proper up-to-date backup is crucial. Last backup should be maximum few days. Also, he's focusing on that we didn't make backup of the Active Directory database. How we can backup the Active Directory, how we can do that, these are links. So he give you the findings, okay, and how you can rectify the findings. So for example, if we go there and open this link, here we can see backing up and restoring an Active Directory server. This is by Microsoft. So you can read it, and we can see also another thing or another link. So it is not find anyway, so he's giving you the findings and the resources to solve the findings. Okay, so as we can see here, here is the report. Okay, he's saying that we didn't make backup from 147 days. So for example, if I don't need to run the whole report of the testimony, I need only to run or to get a result concerning the Active Directory backup, I can use this command. So after installing the report, if I need to get only the backup section of the Active Directory, so I don't need to run all of the tests of testimony, I need only to run a certain test, I can get this command and it'll give me the result of the last backup. So this is very useful. You can run the tests individually, or you can run them as a package. But this is very good. You can run it later to get the last backup of the Active Directory database. So this is very good. And as you can see, also you can get the results in different formats. So it's helping you to customize the format of the findings. You can put it in different formats. So in the upcoming videos, we will begin working on how to rectify the findings found by the testimony report. This is very useful. We need to focus on how we can have a healthy Active Directory and the security of the Active Directory. So I think we can stop at this moment. or I think we can, let's see if we can have other things to discuss. So we will close this one, don't save. So I think maybe we can stop at this moment. Anyway, I think this is the reports and this is it. So if we go further, let me continue. So this is the report. Okay. So anyway, we have already concluded this. So as you see, okay, I will stop at this minute. Okay, stop at minute 42. So in the upcoming video, what we need to do, we need to discuss the findings. So here we will find a lot of things or a lot of points we need to focus on and to rectify. There is some problems concerning the backup of the Active Directory database. DHCP is installed on a domain controller. We need to rectify that. Forest replication, there is some replications that was not done. Okay, some optional features like recycle bin need to be installed. A lot of things, and we'll discuss a lot of different concepts. Even though if we didn't or if I passed some of the tests, we will discuss the test itself. It will give us useful information on the things we need to focus on in the Active Directory health and the Active Directory security. So as you see, a very, very detailed report and very, very good one, and it's for free. You can see it is very, very useful, and we can benefit from it very, very or greatly. So in the upcoming video, we'll discuss the first point, which is Active Directory backup, database backup. Hope this video informative to you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.